What's up, Podcast World? Chad Belding back at you. Got an awesome episode planned for you today. Today's episode of This Life Ain't For Everybody podcast is brought to you by our friends in Lynchburg, Tennessee, the one and only Jack Daniels. Please enjoy it responsibly, but we rely on Jack for the good times, the sad times. It's been there for us for many years, and we love how they support the outdoor culture, hunting and fishing, the music scene, and that's what we're talking about today. One of my favorite all-time bands, and I have been blessed to be able to sit and talk with the lead singer, guitarist, one of the founders, songwriters, Cody Cannon. How are you, my man?
All right, man. How you doing?
Good. Whiskey Myers. I got you right there. Whiskey Myers is, it's got to be one of the hottest bands in the country right now, isn't it? I mean, obviously the pandemic slowed down, but before that, y'all were on a roll that could you ever expect what was going on, Cody?
No, not really. Not at all. I mean, you feel it building and you're out there doing the right thing and stuff, but you never know.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where it's almost like a cult following, to where you guys have established yourselves with this band of brothers across the country. A lot of people follow you from show to show, but do you think that it's mainly your live show that has set the band off to where y'all have gotten today, or are you guys concentrating on the studio time just as much as you do the live show?
It is a little bit of both. It has to be. But a lot of it was touring. Yeah, I think just touring. We did that forever, man. We've been on the road for 14 years. So just honing our kind of live show. And it's a very kind of electric, in your face, rock and roll show. But also, on the albums, you got to make a good sounding record. So there's a formula to all of it. And, we got lucky and gotten just, the right stuff at the right time that helped kind of, pitch us to another level, because you can only grow so big just going around and playing, and it's kind of growing. So you need some things to happen, and the record, that helps. That's how, the songs really take off. So it's both.
So if somebody came up to you and just said on a whim, and let's say you had 2 or 3 beers in you, and they just said, "What kind of band is Whiskey Myers?" Like, how do you answer it personally? Because I don't want this just to be a conversation where I ask you a question and then you give me an answer, because I'm really engaged in your music and I follow it like crazy. But how do you describe it? Like, you got a Guns N' Roses effect to you. You got a George Strait. You got a Bo Cephas. You got a Waylon. You have so many. You write with my favorite songwriter in the world right now is Brent Cobb, who's a good friend of mine and yours. And you've written songs. One of the top rated songs that are on any of the lists you see for WM is one that you wrote with Brent Cobb, I believe. So you guys have this entire, is it just your influence that did this? And being in Texas, did you have a huge rock and roll influence? Was it the ZZ Tops? Was it the Southern rock? Was it the rock out on the Sunset Boulevard? Everything was like a melting pot. And then you have all of the George Straits and the Red Dirt music and all the country music effect as well?
Yeah, 100%. It comes out like that, I think, because of our influences. We grew up listening to the ZZ Tops and the Marshall Tucker bands and the Skinners and the Allman Brothers and Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, all that, rock and roll stuff. And then, also grew up listening to, George Strait and Alan Jackson and Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, all that stuff. So it kind of, I guess if you just honestly listen to that stuff your whole life, and I could just go on and on, millions of bands. We just had a very eclectic kind of thing. And it just kind of comes out that way. It's just kind of a mesh of all of them, I guess.
Well, I've had, and I don't want to be a name dropper, because I don't want that, but I was lucky enough to have Billy Gibbons on this last week. And when I hear some of your guys' live stuff and like how you start some of the chord progressions into a song, like I see that ZZ Top, like from the 70s influence, from like, if you watch like their documentary and you listen to like a Whiskey song or a live show, you almost can like close your eyes and be like, man, this could have been back in the 70s with ZZ Top. Like, it's rocking that much and it's that raw. And I don't know if you hear that a lot. I would assume that you do, just because Whiskey Myers to me is just like raw country, raw rock, raw in your face, but just the musicianship it just seems like there's a very perfected sound that you guys can transition from a ZZ Top and then slow it down and go into one that would tear any of the honky tonks on Broadway down. I don't know if you've heard that a bunch, but I when I close my eyes, I'm just like, man, these dudes are so old school and so raw. And I don't even know if you're in your 30s yet or how old you are or what, but y'all have got a really raw, authentic sound.
Yeah, man. It's just being honest, It just goes back to your influences or that's just kind of how you grew up. And it's just, we just do our thing and it just comes out that way. It really does.
I'd say I can understand doing your thing, but let me ask you this. When you were coming up, and I assume that there was a stage in your career as a band, were you guys doing covers at one time? And would you go into like a bar and let's say you're at Green Hall or you're in let's say that you're in Austin at the Broken Spoke or somewhere. I've been there for Jerry Jeff's birthday party before, and I love Jerry Jeff music, but would you be up there and you didn't know whether to play a Van Halen song or a Jerry Jeff song or a Metallica song? I mean, was it that diverse if you would cover songs, you guys had this entire portfolio?
No, we did the Jerry Jeff before the Van Halen.
you did the Jerry Jeff before Van Halen?
Yeah, we covered some songs, but man, we did like ZZ Top, stuff like that, Skinner songs. Coming right out of the gate, we did as many originals as we could. We were all about that. We didn't want to be a cover band, so. Starting out, you don't have enough material to play full sets without doing covers. So we would do old rock and roll and stuff like that.
And does the name come off of, is it kind of like your favorite drink with the road you grew up on? Because I grew up on Myers Road and my favorite drink is whiskey. Like if I was going to drink an adult beverage, but my address growing up is 6805 Myers Road. So you hear some analogies like that. Well, you take your last name and you put it with whatever. Where does the name derive from as far as like for our listeners to know? Is it from a family member's name or is it from late nights with a whiskey bottle and what that meant to you? Or how does it come into fruition?
Oh man, that's top secret. That's classified.
Is it classified?
Yeah, it's above my pay grade. There's a lot of rumors out there on the internet, though. You can kind of Google it. There's been lots of rumors.
I know. I was hoping I could get a real one today, man. I was hoping I'd sneak one by you with the analogy of the road I grew up on. Hey man, you're
road.
Huh?
It was named after your road.
All right. Well, at least give me some insight on this, Cody Cannon. Where is your military influence for a in-your-face badass jam that like could light up any room? Frogman. This song is like, it's my personal favorite of all of the ones that you guys have ever done. But is that just sitting around and you guys have a lot of admiration for our military, or do you guys have personal references of what it means to be a Navy SEAL and a Frogman?
Well, what it was, we're real good friends with Scott Brown, who was in the Marines for a long time, and he introduced us to some Navy SEAL buddies of his, Rob Myers and Pete Scobell, and just from and we became friends with them and some other like Navy SEAL guys, and hung out with them and heard stories and stuff like that. So it was just kind of you tip your hat to those guys after just being around them and stuff. And it just kind of happened. And even when I wrote that song with Rich Robinson, Black Crows, and it wasn't even like a military song. Like we were writing it and it had different lyrics. And at some point in the song, it changed to where like, oh, this could actually be about this. And I was like, man, I got some buddies. And so I actually like text them and was like, hey, is this cool if I do this? I want to be, I don't want to do nothing. Yeah, I don't think it's cool. And they were like, hell yeah. Like they were totally. I told them kind of the vibe of what was up, and they actually had sent me like their credo or creed or whatever that they say, the last of the bare knuckle fighters and all that. They actually text me that, and then I had turned around and we put that in the song. So it was just being around those awesome guys and kind of, paying our respects to them, and they are, a bunch of badasses. So we wanted to write a song that is, kind of in your face badass, not like cheesy.
Yeah, it's so in your face that it uses like words like "you bet your ass I'm a bad mother." Like when you hear that line, and in our humbled experience with SEALs, and being able to hunt with them and give back to the military, and being around SEAL Team 6 members or wounded veterans that were in the SEALs, when you hear that song, is it one of the most rewarding feelings that you get personally as a musician when you're on stage and you see the reaction to a song like that, and then you also have the validation from actual warriors that fight for our freedoms? You hunt, you fish, you love the outdoors. You know that this shit's not entitled. We have people fighting for our rights every day. For you to get up and sing, and for me to go and call a duck, is that one of like the biggest rewards of your music career, Cody? Is being able to write a song like that and seeing the reaction that you get from me that's never been in the military and from an actual Navy SEAL that gives you his blessing?
Yeah, just that their blessing and that they thought it was really cool because we were just trying to do it out of respect to them. So anytime you write a song that affects people and, touches them and stuff like that, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's why I write songs.
Is it one of your favorite personal songs that Whiskey's ever done?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it might be one of my favorites, especially one of the harder ones. I really do like that song.
God, I love that song. I really do. Every time I listen to your library, I just get a big kick out of. I picture being in a room with a bunch of SEALs and seeing how they react to that, and it just paints the picture perfectly of what they live on a daily basis when they're on a mission over in theater. And it's just the line about, well, I'd rather be back in the country. Pretty much, I'd rather have my feet in dirt fishing and stuff like that. It's kind of that feeling of what I've always thought with the military is that when they get back here after doing what they do over there, they love to get in the woods. They love to be in the ponds. They love to be fishing and living that outdoor lifestyle. So I just think that song paints that picture so perfect.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I think that it's just one of my favorite songs that you do. I think it is my favorite song, but I mean, we could talk about when you sit down, and is there a science to songwriting with Cody Cannon when you go into a co-write? And I talk to guys like Brent, he's like, I got an idea and I have like an avenue that I want to go down to. Or are you just kind of like throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks? Are you kind of a freestyler in that way? Or are you a scientist when it comes to wordsmithing like that?
No, Brent's a scientist. He comes in with he wants to write a song a certain way. Me, I freestyle it. If usually if I go in with the plan, they don't turn out as good as if I just sit down and for some reason words just start coming out. Those are always better songs than if I had a plan. For me personally.
So when you sit down to write the Honky Tonk song with Brent Cobb, is it his idea or are you guys freestyling that day?
Which song?
It was is it the bars, guitars, and
no, that's actually his song. We didn't write that one together.
You didn't write that one with
him? He cut that a long, long time ago. No, I didn't write that one with him. The first time I met him, he was playing that song a long time ago, like when he had first started and we had first started, and I was like, man, we need to cut that song. And he was like, hell yeah. So yeah, we cut that song a long time ago. It was the first time me and him met before we'd even written together or anything.
Does it surprise you that it's still like on a lot of the top 5 lists, that when you search Whiskey Myers like best songs ever, it's like in the top 5 of most of those polls, I guess they'd be called?
I heard it and I was like, oh, it's badass. We should do
I thought you wrote that. I thought you wrote that with Brent Cobb.
Nuh-uh. We hardly even knew each other, man.
But you've written
we've written a lot of songs
since then.
Yeah.
So tell me in your opinion of what kind of artist is he when you hear one of his albums that he's done with Dave, or I don't know if you've heard the new one, but what kind of artist is Brent Cobb? Is he that raw, just that genuine, authentic country sound, or how would you describe a Brent Cobb?
Yeah, just a pure artist. I mean, he's an amazing songwriter. He's the real deal. He's not putting on a front. That's just how he is, man. Just like his songs, that's his personality. He's a great dude, great person. No, we've known him for a long time.
Yeah, he's a big fan of your guys's too. And I kind of want to get into, and I don't know if you have the personality to talk. I've been talking with Eddie some, but do you have to pinch yourself, Cody, with what's going on with the numbers you're seeing with the 90%, or how I don't even know how many shows sold out in a row. We're talking 500,000 tickets sold in 2.5 years, 500,000, upwards of 500,000 tickets sold to come watch your guys' live show. And you're not talking just honky tonks in Texas. We're talking theaters and places all over the country, music festivals where people are knocking down the barriers to get to a WM show. Do you have to pinch yourself, or is it just, did you see it coming?
Man, I just keep my blinders on, man. I don't even think about it too much. And that's honest. You can ask anybody who knows me. I just do my thing and play music. We've been doing it so long. It's just what we do. And so the more the merrier, it's like, oh, there's more people here. That's really cool. We're very blessed and we're fortunate. We're appreciative, but me personally, I keep my blinders on. I don't even think about stuff like that.
So if you went to a show tonight at Joe's in Chicago and there was 7 people there, the same energy would be in that show if tomorrow night you were playing a sold out show at the Houston Rodeo?
No, that would suck. I would be really bummed if there were 7 people there.
But that's got to be your energy, man. The energy at your guys' shows is amazing, bro. It's like amazing to see what it's built into, is it not? I know you got your blinders on, but you've got to look outside of them once in a while and be like, holy shit, dude, look at all these freaking people. Look at all these sellouts we have in a row all over the country. Yeah. Like, it's amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. We feed off the energy of the crowd too, man. The crowd makes the show. People don't realize that the fans make the show as much, if not more, than the band, because like they add so much to your vibe and energy. They really do.
So do you have a favorite venue? Do you like being at home in Texas the most? Is it still kind of sentimental to you to play in towns, like Austin or Dallas or Houston or Green, some of the older honky tonks that you hear of in Texas? Or do you like just as much being out on the road? And like one of the big things I was looking forward to this year was being in Little Rock when Jamie Johnson was going to be with you guys this year. And I love Jamie. And I thought that, and I hope it still happens. That'd be an amazing tour. But do you love being out on the road just as much as you like playing a place in Texas?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we like it all. But there's some special spots, like when we get to go back to Billy Bob's. It's close enough to where we're from that our family gets to come out, experience it, and have a good time. You get to see a lot of people that you've known for a long time. So there's some times like that when it's like, you're like, hell yeah, this is cool. So, but other than that, we're just playing, man. We just like playing music.
No, I can tell that you guys have a huge love and a passion. You also have, I think we share a common bond in a couple other areas. One is being, a mutual friend of mine, Matt Pittman. The Meat Church guys.
Yeah. I love Matt, man. Awesome.
Does he know how to barbecue? He's not going to listen to this, so tell the truth what you think of his barbecue.
Oh yeah, that boy can cook.
He can throw down.
I don't know if he can. We've been trying to go fishing together. I don't know if he can cook, but he can fish, but he can damn sure cook.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he uses a bobber, but he can throw down on a Traeger for sure. He's Texas blood. There's a lot of Texas royalty talent, man, that we could go down that rabbit hole for sure. But I think that you guys, when I first got turned on to you guys as far as the outdoors go, you guys were duck hunting or something up in Montana in the last season. And is it something that you grew up on? Is the outdoors really important to you as far as the hunting and fishing, the gatherer part of it, of putting food on the table? Are you really into that? Was that kind of your upbringing?
Yeah, 100%. I grew up hunting and fishing. I still do it all the time. Yeah, that's 100% at my core for sure. Stuff like this happens and there ain't no food, at the grocery store, I'll be fine. We'll be fine around here.
It's crazy to think, though, that this could be the time finally in you and I's life that I've had probably 10 people that never hunted, that don't even, they might be different political affiliation, might be different views on life, but they come over and they eat a little bit of wild turkey or some fresh fish that was just caught or whatever. And they're like, hey, where'd you get this? I'm like, oh, it's from a turkey hunt on the Sacramento River. They're like, what? You killed? And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. You call them in. They're like, man, I want to try that, And so they this curiosity is there right now for hunting. Have you seen it at all to where people are like, man, I wish I had some more wild game in the freezer and shit like that?
Yeah, that's old school organic. Tell them we've been organic since day one.
Isn't it? It's so funny, man. It's so crazy. Like when Brent was on the show a couple weeks ago, I said, "What are you doing, buddy?" And he goes, "Man, I just put 35 brim in a bucket. They're ready for the grease, you know." And he's like, and Brent, you know, he's like, "That's all we ever did is just like fried fish up with grandma." But it's amazing that there's a lot of people. Texas might be one of the states where there's more people that have hunted and fished than not, but there's a lot of places in our country that we take it for granted, man, because we grew up in it. But there's a lot of people that never had a mentor to do that. And it's cool to see somebody like you and the guys in the band have a voice of, hey, yeah, man, we support the outdoors. We support hunting, because I think that that's a really important message right now. Like, look what hunting can provide during a pandemic like this. Look at what we can do.
Absolutely. It's a good skill set to have. For sure. It just is. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's at our core, you know, that's what we do. So there's no, I mean, if you don't, people don't want to do it for different reasons, that's fine too. I don't judge them for stuff like that. But me personally, I'm a hunt and fish as long as I'm alive.
Yeah, and I don't judge them either. I think that it's great. I think that my point is that I think it's great that people are developing a curiosity to at least have an interest in it, to whereas before they wouldn't even consider it, but now they see all this meat in our freezers and they can't get it at the store. So it's a good time for us to be able to maybe mentor somebody and help them out. And I just think that there's a lot of people interested in this, in the original organic, as you call it.
Yeah. Hey, and that's great, man. What they say, give a man a fish, you can feed him for a day, teach him to fish, you feed him for life, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm all about that. Y'all need lessons, holler at them.
I do. So tell me about that. What could you teach me? What's your forte? What's your favorite? What do you enjoy the most? Are you a white-tailed deer guy? You a wild hog guy? You like to bass fish, or do you like to be in the ocean? What do you like the most?
Bass fishing for sure. That's my number one thing. Then after that, probably bow hunting for deer. That would be too. Yeah, but I mean, I enjoy it all. I've been fortunate enough to get to do a lot of things, but bass fishing is probably my first love.
I've done a lot. I've had a lot of good duck hunts outside of like Haskell County, Paris, Texas. You ever been around Paris?
Yeah, our guitar player lives in Paris.
Oh, really? We have a company. John does. So he probably hunts around there all the time. That's amazing duck hunting in that part of Texas.
Yeah, up kind of by the Red River.
Yeah, right off the Red River. And there's one of our partners there is called Bodyguard Bumpers, and they have a factory and a manufacturing plant right there in Paris, and they do they do all the manufacturing of front end bumpers, back end bumpers, step sides, and they got really badass line of gear up there in Paris. So that family's name is the Malicotes, and they're all big Whiskey Meyer fans. So I'm sure they've ran across one of your shows up in that area for sure. What do you?
Yeah, we've been in that area time or two.
Do you still play shows around there?
Yeah, we don't play shows anywhere right now, but I think we had some stuff scheduled up there. It's just kind of all over, wherever they say we need to go, we go.
How long is one of your sets?
About 2 hours. We try not to go over that too much because people just get like drunk and go home or too tired. So 2 hours is good for us. We don't go under that too much. When it's, our show, we're allowed to play as long as we can. 2 hours seems to be the sweet spot for us.
And that includes 4 or 5 encores with the crowd keep bringing you back?
Yeah, if they keep bringing us back, we will.
I think that's one of the coolest parts of your show is the ending of it. But I don't know. Do you want to talk about some of these numbers, or does it not irritate you, but are you kind of embarrassed of the success to where you don't like talking about it? Because I don't want it to be to where I'm getting, into areas where you don't want to talk about your success, because that's one of the biggest things to me is like how big it's gotten. And I know it's not overnight. I know y'all have worked your asses off for over a decade, and it's so good to see a band that stuck to their roots and their messaging and their skill set, like you say, to get to what you're getting. It's well deserved. And that's why I'm not afraid to talk about it, because it is well deserved. And when I see how big it is, I'm just like, Man, they're really doing it. Whiskey Myers is really, really doing it. This little band from Texas is like the new ZZ Top. They're really out there doing it. And I just think it's cool as shit. So when I talked to Eddie, I was like, well, I'll mention some of these stats, and he's like, yeah, go for it. But I don't know if you want to keep touching on those or not.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I'm down for whatever, man. I'm pretty, easy going. I ain't gonna get embarrassed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm just here chilling, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's all good.
No, and I appreciate you wholeheartedly being here. But if you have, all right, let's talk about a couple of these. I just want to get your opinion on a couple of them. So, if you take 2.5 years of numbers of just tickets sold, the box offices are saying that the numbers keep increasing, that your market share keeps going up a big time number. And I don't know if you've looked at those numbers. I'm sure you have as a business, but to be able to what I'm trying to say, Cody, is that every market you guys go into, you're getting 50% to 70% market share growth in these areas, meaning that whatever you're doing in these other towns, the word is spreading through this word of mouth, through the music. And where I'm going with this is that I don't turn on a country radio station on Sirius XM on the highway there, or you might have to seek it out on the Outlaw channel once in a while. I don't hear it on cable here in Nevada. I don't hear it in California. Whiskey Myers is not a big time radio band that's being promoted on big time radio stations. And you guys are getting 50 to 70% market share growth in all of these different areas of the country. So to me, that's like, you can only accredit that to one thing. People are like, dude, these guys effing rock, man. You got to check out their music. And it's like, it just keeps spreading like wildfire. And to me, like that, there's not a better way to do business than to have it that growing that organically to where your numbers are doing 500,000 ticket sales in 48 months, not even 48 months, in 24 months.
Yeah. The thing about the radio thing is I don't even know if people really listen to that much mainstream radio anymore. There's so many avenues, the internet, satellite radio, the little things like Pandora and stuff like that. I think a lot of people just listen to that stuff and they find different bands that they dig. You'll come across their playlist or something like that. And that's how a lot of these, bands like us are growing, is just from stuff like that, to where back in the day, they probably could only hear them on their, radio dial.
And I think that is just like translating over into when you go to a place and let's say in North Dakota, the year after you go there the first time, the crowd is anywhere from 30% to 50% bigger than it was the year before. And I know that, you're a rock and roll band, you're a country rock band. You guys have so many different influences, but the numbers have to mean something to the success and the well-being of a band to make a living at it and to stay a brotherhood and to be able to keep doing it and feed your families and have the success that you're having to where you don't see that very often, that if you play in another place that you almost have to like go to a bigger venue every single time because of the demand of the tickets there. And to me, like, you guys got to sit there. I keep asking if you pinch yourself, but I'm looking at that thing over your right shoulder to my left. You guys are blowing the numbers out of whack when it comes to a tour that is not supported by the mainstream media and the mainstream radio. I know what you're saying, that there is a lot of different ways to get your content and your music today, but to be able to get that many people in a room that consistently, you would think that you'd have to have unbelievable national promotion like a Garth Brooks tour or the something behind that. And you guys are doing it with every city you go back to, you're growing into bigger and bigger venues. It's killer, man.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we've been blessed. Yeah, it's like every time we go back, it doubles, and you have to go to a different place and play. But for, especially for an independent band, we never signed a record deal or anything like that. We've always been independent. We always wanted full artistic control and things like that. So it's pretty wild to be able to do that, by yourself pretty much.
I mean, it's more than wild, bro. It's like not, you don't see it very often. I'm sorry. You truly don't. Like I watch music and you do not see independent doing what Whiskey Myers is doing. And it's because the music is the best there is in America right now. Like if you ask Brent Cobb, you can't F with those guys. Their music is that good. And you can't. Like it's as good as anything that's been done in a long time. And I didn't have you to come on to this podcast for me to kiss your ass. I came on here because we have an audience that I want to make sure that our audience understands who we listen to and who we support. And Whiskey Myers is that band that, I mean, you can't get better than it, man. So I just think it's badass that you guys are seeing the success, that you guys don't have a worry now. Like your hard work and your risk, you took a risk on yourselves. You didn't sell out. You didn't sign with publishing. You didn't sign with the record company. You guys own all of this and you're freaking doing it, man. So like, it's just like a success story that in the entrepreneurial mind is like, man, what a business to work 14 years and to still own everything that you started with and not have to get any help in that back end. And at the same time, have to double in capacity every city that we go back to. That's freaking badass. So let's talk about just a couple more of these and then I'll leave you alone about the stats. But, the new Whiskey Myers album, were you ecstatic about what happened when it first came out? Because it was like at the top of every chart. Not just country, not just rock, but it's been Billboard. It was up there and it stayed up there. And is it your masterpiece, the self-titled Whiskey Myers album? Is that the biggest success you've seen with the studio album? And are you still riding high off of that? Or are your sights and your focus already geared on establishing that and letting that be a stepping stone to even bigger numbers?
Yeah, it was special to us too because we produced this album ourselves. It was the first time we did that, so we were like, man, going into the recording process, we didn't know. We're like, man, this might be awful. We've never done this before, but just to go in there and then take that step and have people really dig it. We were fortunate. You always got to look towards the future. You can't hang around in the past. You got to keep going. We were excited to tour this record. The record came out. We didn't really get to tour it, and it was our biggest record. So now we're just kind of at the house. We're proud of it.
Have you been doing any of the live stuff?
I've done a couple of acoustic things like that. We haven't done a full band thing yet. And if the opportunity presents itself, hopefully we'll get to do something like that. But I've done a couple of things, but I'm just been kind of enjoying my time at home, man. We've been on the road our whole adult lives, so it's been all right to spend a little time at home.
And what's your family life like?
Just hanging out here in the country with my wife, man.
No kiddos yet?
No, not yet.
But plans, maybe?
We'll see. We'll see how long they keep us cooped up.
Yeah, you keep hearing about 9 months from now that we're going to be infiltrated with a whole bunch of babies, huh? About anywhere from 7 to 9 months from today. Man, I think that it'd be cool as heck to do a camp, man, to have to do a little duck camp somewhere and have you guys come out or do it in Texas. And wouldn't it be killer to sit around a fire and pick a little bit and then wake up in the morning? Maybe a little headache, but probably not because we're adults and we're disciplined. We're not going to go overboard and go out and chase some mallard ducks or some speckle belly geese or something.
Oh yeah, we're totally down for that anytime, man. You let us know, we'll be there.
No, I really want to. I'd love to get you out, and I want to. I don't know. I want to ask you like about every song you guys have written, but I don't want to be that rah-rah guy, Cody. I don't want to be like that super fan that's like, man, tell me about the day that you wrote, you wrote the Ballad of a Southern Man, because it's got to be one of the most listened to songs from Texas south, from Texas to Arkansas, maybe a little bit of Oklahoma, but all Mississippi, all Louisiana, all the way over to Georgia and Alabama. It's got to be one of the most I've traveled the world. I get to travel a lot hunting, and that song's got to be the most listened to song in the hunting culture. And hunting in the Bible Belt is like the biggest thing down there besides church and God. And every hunter I know, from deer to turkey to pigs to ducks to geese, fishermen, listen to that song every single day. It's got to be the most listened song in the hunting community. I don't know if you'd agree with that or if you've ever heard that, but I'm telling you, like, I travel a bunch and that song's got to be the most listened to song for all hunters. Have you ever heard that, Cody?
I've never heard it, but I think it's kick-ass, man.
It really is. Like, that song, dude, that song is freaking amazing.
What's really funny is people in like over in Europe and stuff, they love that song too. That's like their favorite song over there. It's so wild, and like people that can't even speak English and stuff will sing that song. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
What was the first line in the song? Whose life is that? Is that a true story? And was that your gun or was that John's? Who had the rifle, and why was it that caliber? Was it a true story about that caliber?
Yeah, it was. It was semi-true. So it was my great-grandpa's 243, but that doesn't really sing as right. You know what I mean? See, it was my great-grandfather's gun. It was, I don't know if it was my first rifle. I probably had a 22 and stuff before that, but it was probably my first, I would say, like a high-caliber rifle. You know, that's one of the first ones when you're old enough to shoot a little bit bigger gun, maybe you're 10 or 12 or something like that I had. So it's definitely, that song's definitely, a lot of stuff in that song is true. Besides you have to change like grade, stuff like that.
God, man, that song, dude. Do you still, the values that song has in it, is that one of the reasons that you wrote it, was to kind of show your guys' character and the values that the band grew up with as far as what it means? The words mean a lot, and I'm not even, from that part of the country, but I can see that it was a very personal song to write.
Yeah, it had a lot of aspects of my childhood in it, especially the first verse and stuff. But man, we're just writing a song. We're just writing. I don't think we had any mindset going into it that it had to be a certain way. We were just sitting around and we needed to write a song, and it came out. We worked together and it came out that way, and we dig it and stuff. But that's the best when you're creating like that. I think it's better, more natural, just to let the words come out instead of trying to make it fit a certain thing. So we didn't go into it trying to make it, any way, just kind of come out like that.
Man, I don't know how you can't have that. You didn't have any vision of like, that song teaches lessons, man. That's like one of those lesson teaching songs you listen to it and you're like, damn, these dudes live the same way that I do. And I think that's why people are flooding into your shows, is because they literally there's a gravitational pull with your lyrics that are bringing them in. And I don't mean to bring Cobb back up, but I see it the same with his growth when I go to his shows of, it's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. You might not listen to Frogman the first time and be like, yeah, I get it. But the third time you're like, holy shit. And then you listen to Ballad and you're like, wait a minute, that could have been written about me and my granddaddy. Wait, I'm going to go see these guys live. And I think that's what's going on, is that these lyrics are so freaking real and raw that people are going, I'm not going anywhere without this music in my life. I'm going to it live. I'm going to go to, I tell Brent all the time, dude, in a non-romantic way, I got to listen to your music before I sleep at night. Not just when I'm falling asleep, but sometime that day, I have to listen to a Brent Cobb song because the lyrics touch me that much. And I think that where I'm going with my talk with you and hopefully my future friendship with you guys is that's the music that I want to be in our platforms, is that you can hear any of these podcasts I've done, with whether it was with Jamie or whether it was with Brent or any of the guys that have been on here. I just had a guy named Paul McDonald come on here. And when I listen to Paul's songs, I'm just like, man, he's so real and nobody knows about him, right? And here you are 14 years later and your guys' momentum's there. But I want to be one of the guys that just says, hey, man, we support this kind of music because of the way it makes us feel. And I think that's what music is supposed to do. It's not supposed to be so commercialized and just popped out of a cubicle every day with the lyrics have to be put out front, and they have to be considerate of the listener. And I know that they're very close to you, but I think that the listener is getting an entire life lesson in a story in 3 minutes. That's what Cobb's music does, and that's what Whiskey Myers' music does. And that would be my opinion if I had to guess why the success has blown up, because I know y'all can play the guitar and I know you got a great drummer, but the lyrics are what's making people go, man, that's me. And I don't know if I'm sure you've heard that before, but that's what I see when I see your show or when I listen to your albums.
Yeah, man, we appreciate that. It just goes back to just putting it out there and being real. That's why, not go into the song with preconceived type things, to make it a certain way. Just let it come out and it's going to be real. That's the artistic element in it. I think when you make it commercialized and all that, you kind of take the art out of it.
So with that being said, Cody Cannon, have you ever been tempted? Have you ever personally sat down as a band in a brotherhood and said, hey, there's an offer on the table. We got this much interest from 16th and 17th Avenue and Music Row. We got people want to sign us. Has there been opportunity to where your guys' temptation was like, man, we can get some money up front. We're going to have this much marketing behind us. And we're not, we're going to have our plane rides paid for and all of our radio appearances. We might get a chance to go on Jimmy Kimmel because our publicist is going to be pushing us big time through our record company or our record deal. Has there been temptation?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're always open to if the right deal, came along, but it just goes back of having control and stuff like that. That would be our main focus. It's like, well, why the hell would I want a boss? But against like signing and stuff, yeah, we have nothing against that. But we had opportunities and stuff. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. That our vision. So to us, man, we're just doing our thing, and if something happens, it happens. But it's just about artistic control and stuff like that. Being able to make your art, make your music, and do it your own way. That was a big kind of thing when we started the band. We wanted to do it our way, and so this is just how it ended up.
Okay, so talk to me about the way that you're sitting right here, and for the folks that aren't watching this on YouTube and you're just listening to the podcast, he's wearing a red t-shirt with a black Bass Pro Shops hat on. Is there a character when you get on stage and you got your strap around your neck and you got your axe hanging and you go to hit that first note with your voice, when you walk up on that stage, do you get in a formation to where all of a sudden Cody Cannon, this dude in Texas that's just chilling with a little bass rod and he's throwing it off the front end of his Ranger, is there a character that takes place to where you almost turn into The Rock when he goes from Dwayne Johnson to WWE? Or is it, like I assume that Slash is like this gentle creature that's petting a cat, like Mr. Bigglesworth in Austin Powers. And then all of a sudden Slash is Slash when he's on stage and he becomes like this guitar god. Do you take on a different character? Because I know for a fact you're nowhere near this laid back when you're rocking. And is there a different character that you take on, a different persona?
To a little extent, like I'm not that outgoing. So but you can't, you can't be that laid back on stage. It would be boring. So you have to bring the energy and stuff. But I'm definitely more of an introvert when I'm not on stage. I like to hang out here, way out in the country by myself, and I'm not around a lot of people a lot of the time and stuff like that. I'm probably way quieter off stage. But you got to bring that energy so it comes out. But I don't know if I change too much other than that. The fact that I'm a lot quieter and just kind of chill when I'm not on stage.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So your favorite place to be would be right where you're at right now? Or is it just depends on the times? You like being on the bus? You like being on the pavement? You'd rather be in a bass boat? You'd rather be in a tree stand? Or is it all a balance?
Yeah, I think it's a balance for sure. All the above. If you're, doing one thing all the time, you probably want to be doing something else. If you're on the road, for a month, you're like, man, I sure wish I could just go home and go hunting or something like that. So that's with everything in life. I think it's just a balance.
All right, so let's have a balance game of Cody Cannon's favorites, or what would potentially be. Give me, I don't care what venue it is, but give me the country singer that's living today that you would want to join you on stage for a duo. Is there one? Male singer and then a female singer.
A duo. Well, they could probably sing way better than me, but I don't know. Man, we really are. We're getting to hopefully tour with Jamie this year, and we've always been fans of him. We love Jamie Johnson. So just doing anything with him, we feel blessed. So I probably Jamie or Stapleton would be really cool on that. And the younger guys, Willie would be super kick-ass. It's hard to say. And then as far as singers, I think Dolly Parton's real badass, so that would be cool too. Or Bonnie Raitt's probably my favorite female voice. So any and all the above on that.
Great picks. I would have picked Dolly for sure. She's my favorite female. Miranda would have been my second pick because of the Texas roots, and she can sing her butt off. But Jamie, I don't know how many times I've said it just on this podcast, Cody, about that the Lonesome Song is my favorite song-to-song country album of all time. And there's a lot of Merle albums that were unbeatable, but Jamie's albums are just like, damn it, boy. We need more Jamie Johnson. Like, we need a lot more Jamie Johnson. I keep hearing kind of like, I don't even ask him when I'm talking to him, but I hear from like outside sources like Jamie might be going in the studio pretty soon and doing another album. I'm like, damn it. I hope it happens. But, Stapleton, damn, when he was with the Steel Drivers and his whole, he's not an overnight success by any means. Stapleton is a bad ass. Is there any Texas singer, like if I said just the Texas genre, not counting Willie, because Willie is a worldwide sensation, but the Robert Earl Keens, the Hayes Carls, the Braun brothers with Reckless Kelly or Mickey and the Motor Cars, the Pat Greens, the Corey Moros, the Stoney LaRue's, what Texas band would or Texas guy would you want on stage with you? I know that probably a lot of them are your friends anyway.
Yeah, you're talking about some amazing bands. All those bands are really, really good artists. Man, probably Ray Wiley Hubbard, man. He's our homeboy and he's super amazing. If y'all don't know Ray Wiley Hubbard, go check him out. He's the coolest person on earth, probably. And we wrote Die Rockin' together. Yeah. So I'd have to say Ray, man.
God, he's so awesome. What was the song? It's escaping me right now. But what Jerry Jeff song that did Ray Wiley write with him or write and then Jerry did? He mentions him in the song. Was it Sons? Redneck Mother. Yep, Redneck Mother. Up Against the Wall. Okay, last question on music. On your guests. Rock and roll frontman of all time. Is it Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant, or Axl Rose, or none of the above?
Oh, good Lord. That's going to be hard.
Those are my three favorites, so I had to put them in there to see if you and I are going to be friends, or if you're going to throw, is it Philip and Sambo? Is it Marilyn Manson? Trent Reznor's freaking awesome. There's so many good ones, dude. The lead singer is Slipknot, Corey. What's his name, dude? That dude can rock. Man, I'm going to mess this up because there's so many, and then I'm going to, like, when I get off of here in like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh shit, I should have said that guy. Out of the three you named, I would go Robert Plant. Man, there's so many. That's really hard. Are you an Axl fan at all?
Yeah, I dig Guns N' Roses for sure. We played with them like last summer.
God, what a freaking stud night, dude! How awesome.
Yeah. Man, there's a bunch. That's really hard. That's something you got to think about. But I would say Robert Plant's way up there because, Zeppelin. I'm a huge Rolling Stones fan. So Mick Jagger's way up there for me, man. I think he's awesome and a super, super underrated songwriter. Man, those Rolling Stones songs, you want to talk about lyrics. Their lyrics are amazing. And people don't think about that because it's like, oh, the Stones, yeah. But nah, their lyrics are really, really good. So,
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that it's cool to hear you say that of how the lyrics out front to you, because they're known for their stage, the presence, and their touring and their rock and roll sound. And, songs like Satisfaction, but there's so many songs that you're just like, almost like a John Prine library. And when you start digging into it and you listen to Prine records, you're just like, why did I take so long? And Brent Cobb says the same thing, is like, he discovered John Prine late in life. And I did too, like way into my 30s. And I was like, man, where's this guy been? You know, because he wasn't like out there with the Willies and the Whalens and the Merles. At least not in my household growing up with my dad's records and my mom's records, you know. But I'm sure you're a Prine fan. I'm sure you're a Christofferson fan. But my question for you, Cody Cannon, is how in the heck have you not played with Willie yet? Like, I would think Willie would be like, Cody, get the guys and get over here to the reunion, get over here to the 4th of July show. I'm going on the road with you guys. Get on the bus, get over to Luck. Like, that would just seem like second nature with you all living down there. Well, he lives in Maui mainly now, right?
We did the 4th of July picnic a while back, but we haven't got to do a tour with Willie or anything like that. Probably because, man, live we're pretty loud. Maybe that's why. Like, it's pretty heavy live. We got to do the 4th of July thing though. But I would love to play some shows with Willie. I ain't never met him. I'd like to meet him.
I got to meet him a couple times. If I took this camera into, maybe if you're ever out here playing in this neck of the woods, I'll throw down a little barbecue for the Whiskey Myers guys. And I've had I can't even tell you like the pictures I have with him and what he's done with allowing us on the bus. And this last year he played here and he has his weed company, Willie's Reserve. And I'm not into that. I don't care if you do. I'm not promoting it. So, but he signed a pre-roll for me on the outer case, and it's in my studio.
Yeah, I know about Willie's Reserve a little bit.
I saw you smiling when I said it. You know a little bit about it?
Yeah.
That's the one I got. Well, I got the green one signed. You got the pre-rolls in there. Yeah, I'd do anything to see y'all live with him. He's a freaking legend, man.
Yes,
man, brother. I guess the main theory of this is that I respect y'all. I love what you guys are doing. It's amazing. It's so awesome to see your success. And I don't even know you guys. When I had the chance to talk to you through my network, I was like, hell yes, I want to meet Whiskey Myers because of what y'all mean to me and what you mean to my brothers and what you mean to our entire circle here, how many good times we've had around the music. And I hope that it matures and we can get on a hunt and we can hang. And I could sit here and go down all of these numbers and tell the audience what you guys are accomplishing, but I don't know if that's really what we need to get into. I just want to get the message of like Whiskey Myers is the rawest. I don't even know how to describe the band. It's rock, country, soul, blues. It's everything that you want in your body. It's like it'll make your body go through so many different emotional places, and that's what music is supposed to do. And that's not being all dramatized, Cody. I'm being real. When I listen to music, I want it to hit me like, man, that shit is raw, and that is life right there. And I'm so glad that y'all are doing what you're doing, and I'm so glad that when I go into hunting camps and I hear the ballad, I'm like, oh yeah, I belong here. This is a Whiskey Myers place where they get it, and it's just cool to see people react to the music, and the place is just filling up nonstop, man. Congratulations.
Wow. I appreciate it, man. Really do.
And we appreciate you guys. And let's talk off camera, off mic about getting together and getting on a little duck hunt or goose hunt this year. I'll put together a gig where I bring you guys out. We'll freaking sell out a place and wrap it around a duck hunting in the fall, assuming that we're all safe and that the pandemic's not going. I can't imagine Whiskey Myers all on stage with gloves and masks on, man. I don't know if if you'd sound too muffled or what.
Yeah, I don't think I can rock the gloves and the mask, man. I don't know.
It'd be like a Michael Jackson Slipknot mixture, dude. It'd be like, what's going on up there? Cody's moonwalking and he's singing like some thrash metal with some masks on on his face.
Yeah, we can't be doing all that. Yeah, hopefully we get to get out there soon. Where are you at? Where are you based out of?
A lot of the hunts that I would be talking about would be out of Northern California, Chico area, up north of Sacramento a little bit. I'm up by Lake Tahoe in a town called Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And you guys tour in Nevada, and I'd love to get you guys out though to maybe do a little swing with Brent Cobb. I just have these visions, man, of like, man, after this pandemic, and if you guys got some open dates of bringing you out on some different outdoor stuff that we're going to be doing with Traeger and some different companies, and have you guys rock it with Brent and maybe Adam Hood and some of the guys, it'd be killer.
Yeah, those are all good friends of ours. So anytime we get to play with those guys. We're down, man. You don't get to see all your buddies that much on the road. When you're a pass cross is always special.
Yeah, I can imagine. Are you getting any influence out of your talk with me for a song? Have you been writing lyrics in your head during this talk because it's been so inspirational?
Nah, man, I keep thinking about that question about the best front man ever.
Yeah, I think your answer is pretty legit. It's just that if we were in a speech and debate, I would give you my argument and then my back, my research. I take Axl just because of the lyrics, in my opinion, were on a different level. His stage presence and energy was amazing. His voice, he could hit any note in any range. His ability to own an audience. He was an asshole though back in the day. He was hard to work with, it sounds like. But I just think of him like those three are my guys. Is him, Plant, and Freddie Mercury. I just love the way that if you get a chance, go on today and refresh. And I don't know the last time you saw the Freddie Mercury tribute concert when Axl does "Knocking on Heaven's Doors" and "We Will Rock You" over in Europe, in Britain. Dude, it's like, holy shit. Just everybody, it's got to be 100,000 people in there singing with him. Have you seen that video?
Mm-mm.
YouTube Guns N' Roses Freddie Mercury tribute concert and watch some of the licks on there. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, he could sing for sure.
Oh, dude, he could sing. I don't know. I think Robert Plant, though, is probably the overall pick and consensus in the history of rock and roll as the best frontman. I don't know if you could argue that. I think that he would probably win that argument in most cases.
Yeah, I think so. Led Zeppelin's just so massive. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. All
right, let's get a couple hunting questions out of the way, and then I'm gonna let you go. Do you shoot a Benelli? And if not, don't say the name of the shotgun because Benelli's all I'm allowed to mention. But have you ever shot a Benelli, and do you appreciate a good Benelli Italian-made shotgun?
I do have a Benelli. I have shot Benellis. It's not my main gun, just because right now it's just not. I don't have anything against it. I just bought the one sitting next to it just because. But no, I love Benelli. I think they probably make the best waterfowl gun, hands down.
The best what? The
best waterfowl gun, like the Super Black Eagles and stuff.
Yeah,
I love those shots, man.
Well, I'm glad you said that, man. Good call right there. I think that's all I need to know about you now is that you're a Benelli lover. Do you use it? Do you call animals? Are you a game caller? Do you know how to call a turkey, an elk? Do you do the meh on a whitetail to stop him? Do you do the bleats and all of the sounds? And are you proficient with a mallard duck call, Canada goose call, any of the waterfowl calls?
Hey, yeah, I can actually blow the shit out of a duck call, man. I used to blow it all the time back in the day. I don't get to duck hunt as much anymore just because I don't really have a lot of places to go. But growing up, we used to duck hunt all the time. And so I used to practice on it. I used to have like the Phil Robertson, not the cassette tapes, whatever, the VCR tapes, whatever they were called.
VHS.
Yeah, VHS back in the day. So I can actually blow a duck call pretty good. And then, I think I've only killed one deer that I actually grunted up that I know for a fact that I killed it because I grunted him up. As far as turkey, in my area of Texas, we don't have any turkey, so I cannot call it turkey at all. And the same thing, we don't really have geese, so I probably can't blow a goose call or anything like that.
All right, well, I'm going to talk to you offline about the Benelli and about the duck calls. Cody Cannon, you're the man. I'd love to have, or Cody Cannon, you're the man. I'd love to have you back on and just keep watching this freaking badass ride you're on, dude. This is killer. Whiskey Myers is rocking it.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, stand by real quick. I'm going to end this real quick. That's another episode of This Life Ain't For Everybody. Today's episode was brought to you by our friends in Lynchburg, Tennessee, Jack Daniels. Enjoy it responsibly. Jack Daniels, thank you all so much for supporting our TV shows, our podcast, our social media, all of our outdoor adventures. Find brand new episodes of The Fowl Life, Duck Hunting, and Goose Hunting TV right now exclusively on the Outdoor Channel. Brand new episodes, Season 12. We're so excited about them coming your way July 1st. Tom, hit that button. I'm not going to tell you guys the name of the song because I'm going to ask ask my friends at Whiskey Myers if we can go on the outro on this song with one of their badass jams that I listen to religiously. Whiskey Myers, check them out. They're the band you want to be listening to right now. They're the best in America, in my opinion. Cody Cannon, thank you so much, brother. Any closing words?
No, man, I appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there.
All right, hold on one sec, Cody. I'll be right back with you. Tom, hit that button. This is Whiskey Myers. Thank you all so much for listening to today's show.
I was raised in this land. I guess there's some you don't